Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cravin Iron Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Fiora. I'm here with
Tech Savage, Kristoff, a.k.a. Chris Cordell.
Yeah. So, Ty, the Underwood, couldn't make it today, unfortunately. And
Jesus.
Yeah, but so I brought him on. And,
I'm always on.
He's always on. I put him on camera.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I gave him a camera today.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
So today we are going to talk about. So we've been off for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about life. We had a lot going on this past couple weeks, and we have a lot to talk about. Actually, Kristoff just graduated the T.O.A. Academy.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, you graduated what, like 2 weeks ago?
I don't even know. Yeah, it's been like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's been a lot going on with all of our lives, So I think this is a good time to actually, break it down, lay it out, let the viewers know. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
people are not thinking like, "Oh my God, where's the podcast?" Because I've been getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So one thing that I experienced. So I haven't posted a podcast in a little while. I ended up having to go to Kansas City. Recently, it was 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday at like 8 a.m. We found out that my wife's brother passed. He's 42 years old. Really, really good man. He's a pastor of a Life Church, over 2,000 people. And that's just one church. He does multiple churches. And anyways, he ended up passing. We don't know what the cause is yet. We're waiting. We have to wait about 6 weeks for them to check his body and everything and do their thing. But so what happened was he ended up going to the gym in the morning.
Right.
And like I said, this dude's healthy. He's 42 years old. And he went to the gym. Then he went home and he got in his sauna. He has like a little indoor sauna, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and he ended up getting out, took a shower. He was making the bed with his wifey, and she said she heard a weird noise. And she thought he was joking, She's like, "Oh, stop!" And she turned around, and he was on the ground. She unfortunately didn't know how to do CPR, and then dispatch was helping her with that. She was able to get his pulse back. Paramedics, they got there super quick. The law enforcement and first responders got there super quick and started working on him. He got in the ambulance, and then when he got to the hospital, they ended up calling it.
Right.
So it was a very, very emotional time for me, the family. It was rough. Yeah. We actually were planning a trip. My kids were visiting my parents and my side of the family in California, which is about 12 hours away, driving,
Right.
Northern Cali, and our plan was, okay, they've been up there for 2 weeks. I took a week or 8 days off, or 9 days, whatever. We were going to go up there. We were going to spend a week up there and like mini vacation, and then bring him back when our vacation was over. So, but that changed real quick. We had to do. It was me and my wife. It was $600 a plane ticket to Kansas City.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Was that per person or just?
That's per person. Per ticket, one way.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's one way. But I mean, it was super short notice.
Right.
So, I know her family, her dad, her mom, and her sister ended up flying up there. We couldn't do that because we had my kids in California. We had to get, and that would be 4 tickets.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
So, anyways, I decided, we're gonna drive.
Yeah.
So we ended up. It turned into. It was still a really nice time, but it wasn't like the vacation that we were going to go on, right? Obviously. So ended up leaving. Went to California. We rented a nice van. I said, "Hey, I want the best luxurious van you have, or big SUV or whatever, because we were going to travel long distance, right?"
Right.
So we ended up going to California, getting the kids. We spent a day and a half up there. It was cool though because my family, they all came to us. We had a little shindig and got to see my friends and my family, all that, and hung out for like a whole day. So it was really cool. And then we ended up leaving 6 p.m. the next day, and we drove 30 hours straight to Kansas City.
Jeez.
Yeah, we passed like 9 states.
That's a long way. 30 hours.
Yeah, it was. So I ended up. We left at 6 p.m. I drove and I let the wife sleep and the kids sleep at night. For about. I think the wife got like 4 hours of sleep. It's hard to sleep in a van for that you're just sitting in. Pain in the ass, So I let her sleep at night. I tried to go as long as I could driving. Ended up going until 8:30 the next day, and then the wife took over. I was only able to get like 2 hours of sleep. Yeah, because I'm being a big fella in a vehicle trying to sleep. It doesn't matter how comfortable the seat is. Yeah, it's still hard to sleep. So, anyways, I ended up getting a power nap 2 hours, and then after like 2 hours, I ended up taking over again, and I drove the rest of the way. But there's a lot of beautiful country heading that way,
What states did you go through? You said you went through 9 states, so.
Yeah, so we left California, we got to Nevada, we went through Reno, we went through Utah, Nebraska, a lot.
I got you.
Anyways, so it's funny though because it was smooth until we got into Utah.
Why?
So we got into Utah, and I ended up getting pulled over. And the speed limit was 80 miles per hour majority of the time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty legit.
Oh, okay, cool.
The speed limit was 80 miles per hour. I got pulled over for going 88.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course, 88.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's funny. He pulled me over, and he said, "Hey, do you know how fast you were going?" I said, "Well, I think I was going around 90, And he said, "Okay, well, I got you at 88." So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So he ended up he went to the passenger side, right? But he ended up pulling me out of the car after he took my information and everything. Pulled me out of the car, and he said, "Look, I don't smell alcohol on you or anything." I was exhausted.
Just exhausted.
It was super early in the morning. I was exhausted. He said, "Look, you don't smell like alcohol or anything. So, what's going on?" And
you explained.
Ended up telling him, explaining it to him, and before he pulled me out. But he said, "Okay, well, just drive safe. There's a gas station right up here. I suggest you pull over and get something, or have her drive or something.
Right.
But I'm not going to give you a ticket. I'm not, just."
Be careful.
Just be safe.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I appreciate it. Really, really nice guy. And
right.
Anyway, so I ended up having Ange take over shortly after that because I was ripped.
Right.
But got to Kansas City, and when we got there, I knew my brother-in-law. He was a very inspirational person, and he touched many lives, right? Just by what he tells me,
right,
and what my family tells me,
right?
Because I knew him very well, but that's just from phone conversations, and we took a Florida trip together, all of us, and it was for like a week and a half.
Was that Florida trip that you took recently?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he was actually. Now, one thing that was really, really nice is, so we don't get to see him a lot, But he married us and all that stuff, and he comes and visits every now and then. But we were never able to go up there. Me and my wife, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law have been up there in Kansas City. But we ended up taking the Florida trip, and we had an awesome time, and we got to hang out and have our time with him and everything, right? And so we ended up, we got that time with him before he passed, so that was a blessing. That was a blessing. It was a huge blessing. So, anyways, we got up there, and we ended up getting there at 1 a.m. It was, like 1 a.m. And
in Kansas City?
Yeah. So there was like 4 or 5 families staying at their house. And that's where we were supposed to be staying, And just because, everybody's there, because we had the funeral, so the reason why we had to go so quick is Sunday, he was a pastor of a huge church, right? A huge life church. And they were doing the service on Sunday was for him.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we had to be there.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, we had his funeral service. And anyways, we got there at 1 a.m. There was a lot of people staying at his house, so we ended up, we're going to get a room. Well, we didn't realize how difficult that was going to be.
What do you mean?
It was Saturday night at 1 a.m.
Right.
So, yeah. And there was like a softball tournament going, or a baseball tournament going on, and a whole bunch of events going on. So all the hotels were full.
Oh, gotcha.
So we got there at 1 a.m, but we spent like probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours trying to find a room.
Just waiting, yeah.
Okay, we had church the next day.
What time did church start?
Well, we had to leave by 8
Jeez.
to get to the house and get with everybody and then go.
Right.
But anyway, so after searching, we drove to 3, and they were all booked. Mm. So then we ended up driving to, I ended up calling, and we checked at least 8.
Right.
And we finally found this one that was really, really crappy.
Right.
But like you get in, and it smelled like
who done it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's like an old dirty hospital.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what old dirty hospitals smell like, but I imagine it was like that.
Jeez.
But we get there, and we checked into the room. Getting into the elevator to get to the room, it's like they sprayed very, very strong male cologne in the elevator.
Just to try to cover.
Try to make it smell good, right? And it was weird. But the room, when we got to the room was nice.
Right.
Okay, so anyways, slept a couple hours, woke up, went to the house, but the whole time we were there, like, I had no idea what kind of impact this guy had on so many lives. But there was people from church, just volunteers, or just people that he influenced. Always at the house. It was like you were at like a restaurant. They had breakfast every day for us. We were there for, I think, 4 days. We didn't stay at the house. We stayed at the house one day, and then we ended up getting a room because it was just too packed. And, obviously,
you said it was like 5 families, right?
Yeah. Well, it became a little overwhelming for her because she didn't have time to
like kind of grieve,
and, so it was too much. So we all ended up getting rooms,
right?
And but yeah, while we were there in Kansas City the whole time, they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us. Really delicious food. You finish your food, and there's someone there to grab your plate and toss it for you, and there's someone to clean the counter for you. And someone was always picking up the house, always making sure everything was squared away, so Emily didn't have to do anything.
Right.
And like her family was taken care of, right? And his family. So, but these were all people that were from church, and they were taking care of everything. You know what I mean? This dude had a beautiful house. Like, he made his dream home. You know what I mean?
Right.
He made his dream home. Like, but he worked his ass off to get it to that point. Because I remember he started in a house that he couldn't really afford. It was a smaller house he couldn't really afford. So then it became a seller's market. So he said, okay, cool. Well, we need to figure this out. So he ended up selling that house, getting a couple extra money. He stayed in I think they had a small apartment for a couple years, and built up money. And then when it became a buyer's market, they ended up buying a house and making it their own. And it was amazing. Like, I was talking to Emily about it, and so there was a TV in every room, and I'm not trying to talk him up or anything, but I mean, the dude, you could tell that hard work paid off.
Right.
You know what I mean? TV in every room. She was saying that she said, "Well, I don't want the kids to be too
like spoiled, or
I don't want the kids to be too spoiled or whatever." And, he told her, like, I want them to, if they want a TV in every room, I'm gonna get a TV in every room. I'm gonna give them everything that I did not have when I was their age. And he did that. He made it their dream home, and it was amazing.
Right.
Like, just showing, or just we went to church the next day, and there was over 2,000 people there. And they did and usually he's up there. It's a life church, so what he does is he goes up and he pastors for like 20 minutes or so, and then they put on a life church video, and that's the message for the day. After his message. Yeah. Okay, so you could feel that everybody lost something that day. Everybody lost someone amazing that day. During church, like, you could feel just the overwhelming, like, I guess, godliness. Like, you feel that,
like the Spirit of God.
Yeah, dude. It was amazing. Just I've heard the songs before, and I've heard. But I mean, I heard all this before, but it was nothing like that.
Right.
And they played his favorite song, which was Waymaker.
Right.
And then they did his favorite live church video, which was amazing. And it actually had had a very, really, really good message. But anyways, like, everybody, you could tell how much effect he had on people, and how many people he moved. You know what I mean? Just by being there in that area, in that place. But the church took care of everything. They took care of his funeral. They took care of everything at the house. They paid for everybody's room.
No.
When we all said, "Hey, we're gonna get a room."
Yeah. They took somebody from church took care of it.
They just said, "Here's your hotel. Here's your room number. Just check in and stay as long as you need to."
Right.
But they took care of everything, man. It was crazy. I ended up meeting so many good people. And we talked about on the podcast before, and I'm sure you guys heard it before that as well, and it's about who you surround yourself with.
Right.
Oh, dogs are going to kill each other. But we talk about how it's about who you surround yourself with. Like, this dude surrounded himself with amazing people.
Right.
And everybody had, like, the same stories that we had. It's like he was the same person with us that he was with everybody else that was there.
Right.
Like for example, one thing that I heard a lot by everybody is he was a perfectionist at everything. He wanted to be the best at everything, and he ended up he'll want people to visit him that live in Texas, because he has a lot of family and friends in Texas, right? And he'll say, "Hey, you're going to come visit me," and they're like, "Well, we don't know how much it's going to cost for gas or this or rental and this and that." So he sat down and he spent 2 days and he mapped out the whole thing. He said, "You're going to stop at this gas station, this gas station, this gas station. You're going to spend this much, and this much, and you'll make it here at this time. And there's road construction here, here, and here." And anyways, he ended up. I guess they were running short or whatever from his plan, so he ended up going there and helping them push the car to the next gas station, so he wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? But another thing that they said, and like, this guy has never missed a birthday for us, and we thought, it's immediate family and all that stuff. Like, every time I have a birthday or something, he'll video message me, "Hey, I hope you have a blessed day. Have a birthday. It's just another day," and blah blah. God bless you, and just every birthday you never miss. Right. Same thing with a lot of people there. Same thing. They're like, "Yeah, never miss a birthday." The funeral service, like, amazing. Like, I met his brother, and I met a lot of good people. Met a football player that were
you sent me a photo of him. Yeah. So he played for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
This guy?
He just recently retired. Yeah, he's a really good dude. Like, it was funny, though, because my father-in-law, he met him before I met him, because I got there, he was there, like, a day prior or whatever. Anyways, he met him, and he said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's he about?" "Oh, he used to play for Kansas City Chiefs." Or he thought he still played, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's cool." And I'm not a big starstruck kind of person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, "Oh my gosh."
Oh, yeah.
But, anyway, so he ended up, he told me I need to meet him, and I, like, hour goes by, and he says, "Hey, did you meet him yet?" I'm like, No, I didn't. "Why not?" I don't know. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, right.
Hunt them down, So anyways, we ended up the way they did it. So I guess Danny, my brother-in-law, being the pastor of that church, he would stand in front and make sure that everybody got. They called it the Danny hug. Right. He said he didn't care. He didn't care about COVID or anything like that, but he would make sure that everybody got a hug and got greeted properly. That went in there. So there was over 1,500 people at his church at his funeral. Yeah. And so after the funeral and during the funeral, I know I haven't cried that much in a long, long time. You know what I mean? I didn't really get hit by this until that funeral. Right. Because the whole family was really upset and obviously for obvious reasons,
Tragedy,
Very emotional time, but I was like, okay, well, someone's got to, be strong and be that guy. So I was that guy, and it didn't really hit me until I got there. But I'm sitting there and we're listening to these, his best friends, talk about him. And they did a nice video for him and all this stuff. And seeing pictures with me and him and seeing pictures with him and my wife and just the family and just him and his friends. And hearing what these guys were saying about him. And seeing or hearing what these guys were saying about him, anyway, so I ended up starting to tear up and all that stuff. And then I look around and I swear there was I don't think there was one person in that building that wasn't tearing up. Right. You could see the effect that he had on a lot of people. So anyway, during there after the funeral, they let everybody line up that wanted to say something to Emily, and she handled it very, very well. She stood in the line, or she stood out front, and she wanted her family there. So I was there with my father-in-law, and my wife, and her sister, and her mother-in-law, all of us. We were standing there, so if they wanted to, meet us, and obviously his brother and all them were there too. But so he, we were standing there, and these people, they can line up and they can say something to Emily, whatever they want to say to her. And there was probably over 1,000 people in line. Right. And she sat there, or she was standing there with her kids, and she made sure that everybody got a hug. She's not a big hugger, but she made sure everybody got a hug, and everybody got to say something to her. And the guys at church that work with them, they kept asking her, "Hey, are you okay? Are you done? You wanna finish up?" Right. She said, "I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna make sure everybody gets to say something or everybody gets a hug because I know that's what Daniel will do." Right. And she did just that. She was there for I believe it was a couple hours. We ended up leaving because the kids were starting to get a little restless. Right. Yeah. But she was there for a while, and she made sure that she did just that. But so just being there with everybody, and I got a lot of new numbers on my phone, and a lot of people that's messaging me just because we got followers on podcasts as well. Oh, that's cool. But just met a lot of good people. You made a lot of good connections there. A lot of good people, and I'm glad I got these guys' numbers. You know what I mean? Right. Because they were really close to Danny, and just a lot of good people, man. Yeah. It was amazing. It's hard to, it's upsetting that he's gone. You know what I mean? But it's hard to be mad at God. Yeah, absolutely. When you can see what Danny had and what Danny did here. The impact that he had on all those people. You know what I mean? What he did to serve them. Right. And it was, it's hard to be mad. And the whole time I'm down there and on the way back, because on the way back we drove, it was a 20-hour drive instead of a 20 or instead of a 30 because obviously we were going to Arizona instead of California. We went a different way. On the way back we went through Texas and New Mexico and anyways. So on the way back it's just I'm sitting there thinking man, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this guy had started with like little, and he ended up blessing so many people along with his family and along with just so much. Like it makes you rethink life.
Yeah.
Like you can stop at any time. This guy was healthy. You know, this guy was healthy, and he did so much, and he did it because God gave him a mission, and I feel like he succeeded.
He succeeded.
Yeah. I was talking to a couple guys down there that worked with him, and they said that they call him the Mexican Jesus because he was there for so long. He did so much and he did so well, impacted so many lives and changed lives, and he ended up leaving early. You know, just like Jesus did, but he sacrificed himself a lot. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling. Made me rethink shit, man.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. Being in that situation, I mean, and the impact that he had, on the lives of those members at his church or just in general, and then having the impact on your family, like I could see how that would make a change, in someone, make you rethink your whole life. You know what I mean? I know we talked about before about having like a reset, whether it was like with lifting or direction or even in a spiritual manner where, hey, look, man, we gotta get more with our families about, teaching them the word of God and start, finding a church home and just being more direct in that aspect. And like you said before, like, you can't be mad at God for taking somebody so great like that, to sacrifice himself. You know what I mean? Because it put it in perspective that, he put himself to the side. He still took care of his family, but he impacted people with the word of God. He impacted people, through God. You know what I mean? And that's amazing, Yeah.
And we always talk about God has a plan. And you don't, obviously sometimes you don't agree with it. But God always has a plan.
God always has a plan.
Yeah. I honestly think that Emily's gonna take reins on this, and she's gonna be very successful and finish his mission.
Right.
Like she got asked to if she wanted to go back to Texas with her family.
Right.
And she said no, because before Danny passed, she said because they had options to transfer back down there.
Right.
But Danny said, no, we're not going to transfer because God has a mission for me here. It's not done.
Right.
So that's what she said. She said, well, I'm not going because, there's a mission.
There's a mission.
Finished
you know what
here,
I mean?
But back to the football player. So
yeah.
So we're standing in line. And
how big was this dude? Like, was he like stupid big or was he like
no,
just...
well, he was... My wife said that I was bigger than him, but I wasn't. But no, he wasn't like massive, like.
Yeah.
But no, you can tell that he was an athlete,
right?
But he was running security there, and the reason is because, and I talked to him. So we were standing in line for people to talk to us, and I was talking to my father-in-law, and he said, "Hey, he's right there. You should go talk to him." And I look, hey, if you want me to go talk to him, I'll go talk to him. It's fine, So I start walking over there. My father-in-law goes with me, and he's like, hey, this is my son-in-law, Steven, and Danny's, brother-in-law, and he wanted to meet you. And he's like, hey, I was wondering, would you take a picture with him? He's like, Tony, you're Danny's dad. You don't need to ask me. You tell me, hey, take a picture with him, and I'll jump right to it.
Right.
Like, okay, we'll take a picture. Okay. So anyways, we step aside. And we're getting ready to take a picture, and I hand Tony the phone, my father-in-law,
Right.
I hand him the phone, and I'm like, okay. So we're standing there next to each other, and we're doing the whole,
Yeah.
flexing point,
Yeah.
And then, anyway, so Tony's like, well, hold on, guys, hold on. So he, like, hey, finds a lady. He's like, hey, ma'am, would you mind taking this picture? She's like, oh, okay. So he runs over and he jumps in the picture. And I'm thinking, like, well, all right. I see why you wanted me to take
this.
Yeah. But before that, they told me, hey, you should tell him, hey, I thought you played football. Aren't your arms supposed to be bigger?
Oh my God.
It's like, okay. And Tony was like, you will. I was like, okay. So I go up. In the middle of the picture, so we take a couple pictures, right? The lady's just pushing the button, take multiple. And, so his arms are around me and stuff. His arms around me. And I'm like, hey, you play football, right? He's like, well, yeah. Oh, okay. Aren't your arms supposed to be bigger? He's like, okay. And then she took a picture and I said that, and it was pretty funny.
Right.
But really good dude. I met him, or I talked to him, that was during the church service, and then at the funeral, I talked to him again.
Now, did he know Danny through, like, church service? Like, did he go to Danny's church?
Yeah, so what he told me was he was in a dark area in his life, and he ended up getting invited to that church, and Danny, like, zoned in on him and, like, talked to him and, like, coached him, like through his issues.
His issues, yeah.
You know, and he ended up becoming really close to Danny. And, so he said Danny changed his life. Like, changed it for the better. And, you know, and him and his family, obviously. Right. But, so he ended up being real close to Danny. And Danny, he was, like, a super Kansas City fan.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Jeez. So, and, you know, my mom and my grandfather, they're Kansas City fans as well. So, I'll send them a picture. It's cool, you know.
Gotcha.
I'm a Raiders fan for, you know.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I even told him, I was like, hey, he's like, oh, so were you a fan? I was like, well, my mom and my grandpappy are. And he's like, oh, yeah? I was like, yeah, not me.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh. I said, okay. But anyways, he retired recently, and now he's a deputy.
Oh, he's a deputy?
Yeah, now he's a deputy.
Wow.
He said that when he retired, his buddy that was also there, and he was in full Class A's, he's a sergeant. He said, hey, you should come work with me, you know. So he ended up doing that. He went to go to the academy and everything.
Right.
But, so he ended up... Yeah. But, I mean, just amazing guy, amazing experience, like, made me...
Just life-changing in general.
Like, I mean, but what I'm talking about is, like, you know, people say, day by day. That's the saying that people say all the time. Or, you know, life's too short and all that stuff, right? It doesn't affect you until something major happens. And that, I mean, that sucks, but it doesn't. It sucks that happened, but...
And sometimes, you know, like, that's kind of like, you know, if we're talking about it in a spiritual aspect, that's kind of God's way of maybe kicking you in your butt, like, hey, look, man, you need to get your life together. You know what I mean? Sometimes people can have an impact on you, you know, through tragedy. But like you said, it was almost like a celebration. You know, you guys were celebrating his life. You know, it was heartbreaking that, you know, he passed, you know, early, you know, in the eyes of some of you, and in good health, you know, but, you know, maybe part of his mission was to show sacrifice, you know what I mean? And, you know, that's something that we all got to do at the end of the day, you know what I mean? To spiritually get ahead in life, you know, like, you need that life change. And, you know, in this situation, I'm glad that you're looking at it as a way of celebration, you know what I mean? Versus, you know, being upset with God because, you know, you understood his mission. The whole family understood his mission. 2,000 people understood his mission. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And for him to have an impact on that many people, you know, even people of status, you know, like, you know, the football player or just anybody that was there. I'm sure there was doctors, nurses, lawyers. I'm sure there was a whole gambit of people. You know what I mean? That's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just one thing that I learned from it, like I said, life is way too short.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you have any doubt or, like, if you have a mission and you're not... Something I told myself on the way back home, okay, is how am I going to hold people to certain expectations if I can't uphold my own expectations?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what Danny did was he held himself to an expectation and he drove that to help people with their expectations, to better their lives. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, am I doing that? Am I succeeding? Like, right now, am I succeeding? You know, are you succeeding at home? Like if you're not where you want to be, or if you aren't like driving to your goal to succeed or to your end goal or whatever, right? Like, what's stopping you? Like, what is holding you back? Because, I mean, this right here is a big kick in the ass and it's a big eye opener.
Yeah.
Like, life is way too short, and it can end at any time. Anytime. It can end tomorrow. It can end the next day. It can end a year from now. What are you going to do in the meantime? Okay, like, one thing that I was talking to Emily about is, and what a lot of those guys were saying when they were standing up talking to them about him. Danny had like a guide or a list for himself every day that he read, and this was part of the message that we saw during church.
Right.
But he had a list for himself of things that he would hold himself accountable for every day. And that's just my version of it, I guess.
Right.
Of how I'm explaining it, But he would tell himself every day, I will be there for my children. I will make sure my children feel loved. And I will make sure that they follow God the best way. And I will make sure that they have everything I did. And I will treat my wife as a queen and everything. He did just that.
Right.
Exactly that. You know what I mean? He bettered everybody around him. His kids are amazing. And like everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, amazing human being.
Right.
Amazing. You know what I mean? An amazing experience. Made me rethink a lot of stuff that I'm doing.
Absolutely. You know? I mean, even hearing that story that you're sharing, it even made me think. I know, I would contact you here and there while you were away, just make sure you were all right. You know what I mean? And, you would share some things with me, and it made me rethink too. Like, like you said, he had expectations for himself. And like you said, like, without having expectations for yourself, how can you, deliver a truth or point people in the right direction, without having a certain expectation? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta hold yourself at a higher standard in a sense, or like at a higher expectation, so that you are able to impact people's lives like that. And, it's clear as day, like you said, man, I that's unheard of to me. You only see that stuff on TV and, crazy things like that. You know what I mean? But this man of God impacted 2,000 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, he did right by God. He did right by everybody around him.
Right.
For sure. But, anyways, so you graduated T.O.A. I don't want to dive into that.
Okay. Just right in it.
Just dive right into it.
Oh, jeez.
But you graduated T.O.A.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about that experience. Like, what happened? I know everybody has their breaking point and everybody has their issues, right? But, I mean, you succeeded along with your 3 other guys. With you, you know?
It was rough. It was more anticipation, than anything. It's been over a year. Last year I was supposed to go. 6 months into joining the team, I was told that I was, selected to go. Then COVID hit, and it was just a waiting game. So, working with you, working with Ty, you know what I mean? It was just, and the team in general, I just wanted to hone my skills. And all I kept thinking the whole time was, I have a goal to meet. You know what I mean? I prepared my body, I prepared my mind as much as I could. I did everything I could, you know what I mean? And then when the day came, it was like 2.5 months, 3 months out, and he said, hey, you're going to T.O.A. May 17th. This is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to happen. And during that time, we had about, 3 trainings, I believe. Mm-hmm. And, other operators were, saying different things like, oh, man, you're going to get smoked. You're going to get your ass kicked. This is going to happen, that's going to happen, all these different things. And, I would play it off like, okay, it's whatever, ain't no thing, you know what I mean? But honestly, it put a fire up under me to train, you know what I mean? And focus on that. I was in the gym, damn near every day, 5-6 times a week. I was just pushing myself, and it was a little bit difficult due to the fact that, me and you, we kind of live far away. We work out as often as we can, maybe 3-4 times a month, and then we go on our own. But I had to be my own self-motivator. And, having a law enforcement background, when I went through a similar academy back in Jersey, it was I was a class leader, so I was in charge of 32 other recruits, and it was one of those things where I had to remember the mindset that I had. Coming from the background I came from, I was told that I wasn't going to be able to join the military, wasn't going to be able to be in law enforcement, and all these different things. Anytime somebody told me no, that was motivation for me to prove them that I could do it, because I knew I could. As soon as I got the opportunity, I knew I would just blow it out of the water. And that was my mindset going in. So, I got up, I couldn't sleep the night before. It was about, 12 o'clock by the time I actually tried to go to sleep. And then I was up by like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And went down to the unit, got our gear, and we started driving. And the whole time we're sitting there, talking. And I rode with Alex, and, we were just talking like what's going to happen, what to expect. Like, we were basically creating our own fears. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't necessarily a fear, but it was just like anxiety, so to speak. So we got there super early, checked in, laid around a little bit, and we just sat there. And I was bunked with John Tech, and we were just sitting there talking. And then 5 o'clock hit, and it was go time. The first thing was that the other agencies, all of them are good guys. They started gearing up, got in full gear. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, they just told us to meet down the field. And I try to explain to them that, let's just go down to the field. So we get down to formation about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Everybody's geared up, helmet, knee pad, everything, everything. And the instructors were quiet. They were looking at us all around. And I could see the look in their faces, like, we're about to get smoked. And I looked at John Tech, and John Tech looked at me and was like, yeah, you were right. I said, I know, you know what I mean? I've seen this before. And, right off the bat, they did a roll call, lined us up in the field, all 45 of us, and just started PATing us. And in my head the whole time, I'm like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I'm geared up. It's like 105 degrees out there, sweating my ass off, pushing myself. I think I was doing push-ups, jumping jacks, squats, like anything that you could think of just to smoke us. Take your gear off. Somebody was, the last person was too slow. We didn't do it in unison. Put your gear back on. Take it back off. You know what I mean? That was the first day. The first, hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half after that was just, they were just smoking us. We went to classroom setting, and being in that heat the whole time, plus the drive that, us Kingman guys had, it was like 4 hours. We were up like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Class wasn't hard, but staying awake after being out in the sun and get smoked like that was tough. And
the sun drained you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just drained you. Mm-hmm. And, so that was the first day. And I remember laying down and thinking what's the next day going to be like? You know what I mean? Like, I know the next day was abs training, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hearing the horror stories from you guys, like, it's 14 hours, 16 hours, and this and that. And I'm like, how am I going to prepare myself? And I started thinking, like, man, like, maybe if I just, focused on concentrating on, like, the mental aspect of it and just getting through the mental breaking point, because I knew there was going to be a breaking point that I would have. I knew that I was going to get to a point where it was almost going to be like, am I going to quit? Am I going to submit? And am I going to give up? How's my team going to look at me? How's my I'm letting my teammates down. And the whole time I was thinking, like, the only thing I could think of, because every training I cramp up, it's just a thing, I mean, I don't know why. And, the next day hit, I think it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. We were in the field and we were swinging that ass for like 14 hours. We had classroom time, but sometimes that was harder than, running back and forth, doing a chase drill and things like that. And, it was tough. I'm sitting there looking at the other recruits or looking at the other operators, looking at my teammates, and they're smoked, I'm smoked, everybody's gassed out, you know what I mean? And we had plates in, that's extra 50, 60 pounds almost with your duty belt and all that other stuff on it.
Yeah, nobody else was in.
Nobody else had plates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the whole time we were doing ASP, like I said, it was 2 days, You guys said 16 hours, but it was like 12, 14-hour days, you know what I mean? And that day, I remember going back to bed again, and I kept thinking to myself, just keep pushing. You got it. Just keep pushing. You know what I mean? Me and Johnson were in so much pain, like we would try to crack jokes, and we would laugh like, ha, ha, ha. You know what I mean? 'Cause it hurt. Everything hurt. You know what I mean? Your shoulders, your chest, everything hurt, man. It was extremely difficult, and having those plates, you know what I mean? Like, it was rough, and I remember laying down and, like, you didn't even want to shower. Like, you just wanted to just lay down, and just sleep. And the next day, or I don't even think I think it was like, I was like trying to get all my things together and trying to wash clothes or whatever. And it was about 10:40 by the time the last time I looked at my watch, and I laid down, and at 11 o'clock, they woke us up. I thought I was dreaming. And I hear all this screaming, and everybody's like, ah, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm dreaming, I'm going back to sleep. And no, they kicked the door down. It was like, get up, all this stuff. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, in my head, of course I didn't say that loud. I'm not trying to get, I'm not trying to get my ass kicked. No. So I got up, met at the, I guess their little like wrestling gym. And they smoked us for like 2.5 hours, and there were people throwing up. It was pools of sweat everywhere. I mean, they had us outside lifting logs. Like, they smoked us, you know what I mean? I remember thinking to myself too, like, oh man, I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing, because my mindset was that I'm relentless, and I've never, like, any obstacle that I ever had, I remember saying this before, that I had to go through it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a mental thing. And there were days during that training, during that week, where I felt like breaking. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt like, am I going to get through this? One guy was during abs training, he like broke his knee. It was, one time it was facing straight, and the other time it was on the side, and they had to send him home. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I got knee problems, I got shoulder problems. Is this going to happen to me? And I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, I gotta do something. You know what I mean? So I would try to stretch. I would try to sit there and get myself together so that I am able to, focus on it, because at the end of the day, it's all mental. That's all it was. It was just a mental game. And, seeing that guy, the first guy went down, it was actually like 46 of us, and hearing like one guy didn't even get on the bus to come because he said, not to say that he didn't have it in him, it was just wasn't his thing. And then that guy started dropping, and in my mind, I was like, man, we're just going to start dropping like flies. Like who's next? I'm thinking to myself, I hope not any of my guys. I had all the faith and confidence in the world, and Alex, John Sek, and Walls, that they were going to succeed. But for myself, it was mentally challenging, because I know me, and I know that, the minute I start putting, like fear or me quitting inside my head, that it was going to be over for me. So I had to keep going, you know what I mean? And it was rough, man. Like, I could take you through day by day by day by day. And the first 3 days, you'd be lucky if you got 6-7 hours of sleep. At least that's the way I felt. It was like the third day where they made me squad leader. So, then I had to make sure my squad was in order. Now I'm accountable for 10, 12 guys. And that's easy for me. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or act like I got a chip on my shoulder, but I like being a leader. Yeah. For me, I feel like it comes natural. You know what I mean? So I like to motivate. I like to delegate tasks. I like to push people. I like to be that guy that people like, if all else, like, that guy will motivate you. You know what I mean? So I took that role pretty good. The instructors from, Florence, Lewis, Tucson, from the other agencies kept coming up to me like, hey man, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. hey man, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. Hey, you're in Kingman, right? Like, yeah. Do you ever think about coming to Lewis, Tucson? Trying to recruit me the whole time. And they made it sound pretty, made it sound glorified and things like that. But I tried not to let that stuff get inside my head because I didn't want to lose focus. So, like from there, after ASH training, like we got smoked that day that we were supposed to basically qualify. And we had class and then we went back out to train, swing the ass, but then it was time to qualify. And you're sitting there and you're watching people, even the day before, you're watching people getting knocked out left and right. These guys didn't care who you were, whether you were, 6'3", 240 pounds solid, you were getting knocked out. And they were putting dudes down like crazy. You know what I mean? And that in itself is an intimidating factor. You can see, if you look around, right, you can see people like kind of sliding over to the other line, like, no, I'll just go after him. But you didn't realize you have to go through all three of them when you qualify. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I went up, I practiced, I went to the first guy, and the only thing that kept being drilled in my head was through the training that we had, hey, keep that hand up. And I kept my hand up. I got hit once, but my hand was up, so I didn't get hit after that. It was just like a test, you know what I mean? Went to the next guy, very good guy, Duhan, you know what I mean? Strong guy.
Yeah. Duhan's a good dude.
Duhan's a good dude, man. He's solid. He's crazy. He's psychotic, but he's a good guy.
He'll put you to the test.
Yeah, man. Like for real. And the whole time, I'm doing my strikes and doing them. I guess I was doing them good enough to where he wasn't really whooping my ass like he was whooping everybody else's, right? But he got me with a back kick, and I knew it was coming too. So I had my hand up, and in my head I'm like shit. I should have tucked my shit between my legs, and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And he spun around and gave me a back kick and hit me right in the groin. Man, I almost dropped, almost put my hand down and everything, but I stayed up. Kept swinging at him. Afterwards, the guys that were in the suits were like, they came up to me and they were like, you have a strong strike. You're damn near perfect. Like you're good to go, bro. Like just keep doing what you're doing. Stay focused. Stay motivated. Keep motivating these guys. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you want to leave Kingman, you always have a spot. You know what I mean? Like they would keep throwing that out there, and it was nice. It was a nice gesture, but my home is here. You know what I mean? And after that, not to say it was smooth sailing, because then we had chemicals. Then we had
that's always fun.
Yeah, then we had tasers. You know what I mean? And getting exposed to Phantom. Mm-hmm. That was not fun at all. Have you been sprayed with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
How would you describe it?
Well, it's like it makes you feel like you can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's like everything's swelling up, but it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it puts you in a state of panic.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, it's just it's like a mind fuck too.
Yeah.
Because we train. Obviously, we get we get.
Yeah.
Chemically exposed.
Yeah.
A lot.
To put it lightly, yeah.
Yeah. And but we train to fight through it. And when you have something strong that's super effective, it's like a mind fuck.
It's instant.
I can't breathe, but
you're breathing.
I can breathe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And your face is burning. You can't open your eyes. You can't even breathe through your nose. You can. Just like that. It's a mind fuck.
Yeah, and I had to take myself back. We did our push-ups, we stood up, and you're supposed to be at a certain distance with this stuff. And when they blasted us, I just kept my eyes shut. Did my PT session, and my partner, who I had, she was funny, sweet girl, young. You know what I mean? She was terrified. You know what I mean? She grabbed me and was walking me to the water, and she started, getting emotional. Like, is it really that bad? I'm like, I couldn't even talk. I was just like, water. And I got to the water, I washed my face real quick, and I opened my eyes. And I did it within 2 minutes, but I couldn't breathe. That was the only thing that was killing me. I couldn't breathe. I had on 2 shirts. I took the first shirt off, and I had my underarm on. And then once I opened my eyes and I'm seeing the other groups getting sprayed and people suffering, it looked like a World War II battle scene. There were people falling out. They were throwing up. You know, there were people like screaming. There were people.
It's no joke.
No, man, that is. You know what I mean? It almost makes you feel bad about spraying somebody with
Almost.
Almost. Yeah, yes, almost. You know what I mean? Not that much. You know, I'll spray somebody because it's super effective. And I did not realize how effective that was until I got blasted with that MK9. You know, if you understand what an MK9 is, like, this is it right here. Like it looked like it was bigger than that. I don't even know. Whatever it was lethal. You know what I mean? And I think we were burning for, I don't know, a day and a half. You know, it was like maybe the third day when everything was good, and you know, so that was good.
Well, like after you get exposed to that, it takes like there's some spray out there that. Okay, you shower once, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, or hey, you shower even twice, you're good.
You're good.
You know what I mean? But that shit, you shower 6 times.
Dawn didn't work.
You start
baby shampoo. Yeah, nothing worked.
Again,
yeah.
And you're, it's still burning.
It's still burning.
Still can't see.
I couldn't sleep, man.
5 days.
It was so bad, man. So bad. And it was funny, you know, what John said, like anytime that we had like a break, he would take that opportunity to sleep. Every single time. If it was like a 5-minute break, he would go to sleep. You know, if it was like 20 minutes, an hour, he would go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't. You know, I was squad leader at the time. You know, then like a day or two after that, they promoted me to platoon leader. So that was nice. You know, I thought it was until we had to get tased. You know, and I was the first.
Example.
Yeah, you know, that was yeah, exactly. Lead by example. I was the first one up, and I'm like, okay, this feels like a setup. And now I've been tased before, but that was like many years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and people were like asking me like how to feel, and you know, most of those guys that were there, because they, you know, ADC, they've been tased before, they carry tasers. And like Marshall, you know, he's never been tased. John said with Walls, and they were asking me. I said, honestly, imagine the most painful moment of your life. And going on a 5-second ride, you know, like that's the best I could describe it. So, you know, I got up there.
Well, see, the thing is, like, I've been tased, and it's a 5-second ride, but it feels like 20 seconds.
It feels like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. It just feels like it never ends.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, you know, the whole time I was sitting there like, I'm like, okay. So I got up there, and I was there, and all of a sudden it was like, you know, they say, hey, you gotta state your name, your position, and where you're from. And I was the first one up. And I was like, hi, you know, my name is Chris. I'm from Kingman. I'm about to get tased. Heard a loud noise, and then I saw white flashes. And it was so painful. I had one in my lower back, one in my ass. And I, you know, screamed. You know, I ain't no bitch or nothing, but I screamed. You know what I mean? Like, it was loud. Like, I screamed.
Your scream was loud?
Yeah, scream. It wasn't high pitched. It was still manly.
Okay.
But I screamed. And yeah, shut up. And I was able, after a while, after the initial impact, I was like, put me down, and I, you know, they set me down. And then after it was over, I felt euphoric. You know what I mean? I felt like I went through like 30 days of cardio. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt nice. And then, you know, yeah, nice. Like afterwards, not the initial impact. The initial impact was hell. And when I was on the ground,
muscles all just worked at the same time.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Good workout. 5 seconds.
Yeah, you know, let's do it again. No, I wouldn't say that. I actually thought about it like afterwards, like, and I was like, nah. So when I was on the ground, they were taking the prongs out, the probes, and the one in my back they took out easy. Then the one in my ass, they went to go pull out, and you know the 5'11" pants that we wear, they're tough, right? So they went to go pull it out and stabbed me again. You know what I mean? And pulled it out again. You know what I mean? And that sucked. You know, got up, I felt great, and then I had to watch everybody else, and that last person was like not afraid, but it was like he had to watch everybody else.
I know that anticipation. Just imagine.
Just imagine.
Pain. Like nobody takes it good.
No.
Unless you're like on something.
I don't know. This one guy took it really good. Aguilar, he wanted the 2 shots and the contact. It was only 3 of us that got actually shot with the taser. Everybody else had the,
Oh, yeah.
So this guy that laid him flat on the ground, they shot him, boop, boop, and then contact for 5 seconds. Man, he ate it. And it looked painful. He was in pain, but he's a tough dude. You know what I mean? Like I respect him. I respect everybody there. Honestly, it was a group of people. We didn't know nothing about each other, but going through all those fucked up situations together, you created a bond. You created a bond with that class, especially after COVID. We were the first class, post-COVID. You know what I mean? So, it was really good. It was really inspiring. Meeting new people, seeing different perspectives on tactical awareness, tactical situations. You know what I mean? I learned a lot, and it motivated me more to be better, to do better. It motivated me more to teach the newer operators that we have to be better. And, I remember like this past training that we had, did I send you the video? Me, going through the door or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So maybe, if we get permission to, we'll show you guys that one day. But like, I'm sitting there and we're going through training and I see these guys going through the motions. And it triggered something with me when I was at T.O.A. that when they see guys going through the motions, man, like they would just stop, front lean and rest. You're doing like 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 flutter kicks. Like they were hammering you because we train how we fight, right?
Yeah.
Like when I played football, like you did, it was we practice how we play. You know what I mean? And I had to explain to these guys. I kind of snapped, and I was like, like you guys are like, they were like kind of aggravating me because they were just going through the motions. And I understand like our leaders, you're a squad leader, you have that teaching mindset, and I admire that. Me, not so much at at this moment. And it frustrated me, and I'm like, I had to explain to them, that you're training here to be better. I have to rely on you to watch over my back and my life and get other officers who are in danger. God forbid something happens, yards pop off. And you have to feel the same way about me. We all want to go home the same way we came in. And I had to explain that to them, in kind of an aggressive way, but it got through to them. Going to T.O.A., like I said, it really inspired me to be, better. And it taught me better leadership skills. It's helped me a lot, on the yard, you know what I mean? So, as a supervisor now, and, like that experience was like something that I would love to go through again, minus the spray and the tasing part. But, it was fun. It sucked. Would I do it again? Probably, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there'd be some hesitation, but I probably would, you know what I mean?
Most of it.
Most of it, you know what I mean? But it was grueling. It was really tough.
Well, I want to piggyback off of something you said. So we train and we preach it constantly. And it's not just in the tactical sport, it's in life, right?
Right.
You gotta trust your partner to do their job.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you're at. Especially on the yard and, like I said, correctional experience, but on the yard or in TSU or regardless wherever at home, you gotta trust that your partner's gonna do their part, right? If you go into a building, you're doing a building entry, there's a bad guy in there, right? If you're looking left, check that corner. Your partner, you're trusting your partner to have your back looking right, or going straight wherever he's going, right? You gotta trust that he's gonna have your back, and if you're not training that way, then it's not gonna happen in a real scenario. T.O.A., for example, I'm sure they went over it multiple times. Just like we do in training, go over it multiple times. You gotta trust your partner. You see guys when they're getting ready to do a button hook, and they're doing a button hook, but they're looking right with their weapon over.
Yeah, and
they're not trusting their partner to check that corner.
Or they're just looking at whatever's going on over here, You know what I mean? Instead of just focusing on the threat that's in front of them or a possible threat.
But they forget that the important part. It's just like working a dorm. Mm-hmm. Okay, you gotta trust that your partner's gonna be there for you. Do their part.
Right.
If you're doing something on the alpha side or the alpha run, right? And you're expecting your partner to do something on the Bravo or doing the same thing on the Bravo side. Or if something happens on the alpha side and you need to get your partner's attention or you need to get your partner over there, you need to trust that he's going to be there and he's going to help you out where you need help, right? Like at home, okay? I'm going to do my part as the man, like me in this house, okay? I feel like I'm a provider.
Right.
My wife, she's also the provider, but like if I didn't trust my wife to do her part, okay, we would be fucked.
Right.
You know, we wouldn't have everything that we have now.
Right.
We wouldn't be like as comfortable or as well
secured. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we didn't trust each other.
Right.
Okay, and that's what became. I mean, it's called.
We called each other, and I actually said in my vows when we got married, but co-pilot.
Co-pilot, yeah.
I'm going to be her co-pilot, she's going to be mine. Okay? Obviously, there's certain things that I do that she doesn't, and there's certain things she does that I don't.
Right.
Okay, she does things better than me, and vice versa.
Right.
And I'm going to trust that she's going to do her part, she's going to trust that I'm going to do my part. If I'm not doing that, then guess what, I'm going to fuck myself.
Right.
It's just like a training.
When we fuck up, what was the first thing we say? Hey, unfuck yourself.
That's right.
And do it again.
That's right.
Then just, I mean, that's just in general, like, if you need to unfuck yourself, unfuck yourself.
Right.
If you're at training and you're just going through the motions, unfuck yourself because the guy next to you, he's not going through the motions.
No, he's 100% effort.
Yeah. And guess what? When the time comes, he's going to expect you to perform as such. And if you're not, it's because you fucked up that training.
Yep.
And you didn't unfuck yourself before it actually happened.
Right.
I know training was exhausting.
Yeah.
Sun, constantly, all day, you know. You had a lot of people that were exhausted, but I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't half-ass it. Even if there were people who were ready to fall out.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? They're still busting
their ass.
When they had a minute, they drank some water and they sat down for a second or found some shade. And then when it was time, they got up and they hustled.
Right.
And they busted their ass.
Right.
Gave 110%. You know? But if you don't trust the guy next to you, or not trust, but if you see that the guy next to you is not working as hard, it's hard to instill that trust in him if something actually happens. Yeah, we train a lot, okay, throughout the whole year. All right, but if you're gonna fuck around on one training, say you bust your ass all training or every training day, right? But that one training day, you're like, I'm just gonna go through the motions today. Right. And then the next day, guess what? Now that's all instilled in you because you just trained for 12 to 13 to 14 hours, and you were just going through the motions for 12, 13, 14 hours.
And then the next day, the yard pops off.
The next day, the yard pops off. You know what's going to happen? Is you just mind fuck yourself, and you just instilled that in you that you're just going to go through the motions. And when everybody else is busting their asses, they're going to see what you did last training. And it's going to be hard for them. I'm not going to say they're not going to put trust in you because they have to.
Right.
But they're not going to have the best of faith in you.
Right.
Because you did that training.
Right.
You know what I mean? When we do things on the yard, when it's just like small drill. Okay? You have people like who do a perfect challenge. Okay? You have people like, oh, it's a drill, and I walk up there.
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Right?
Yep.
But guess what? That one time it actually happens, they're like, okay, I'm just going to walk up there, I'm going to do this. Well, guess what? Now it's time to bust your ass. Because everybody needs to bust their ass. This isn't drilling. You know what I mean? And it goes with everything. If you're doing compliance in the norm, you're just going through the motions in compliance in the norm. And then audit comes, and they're going through your norm. And they're questioning why is your dorm so late? Or you're like, oh crap, I don't want to get this facility a guard finding because I fucked off for the past 3 months.
Right.
Now I'm gonna bust my ass, and I'm gonna try to get this dorm in compliance and get this dorm looking good this one day. Well, guess what? You're gonna have some pushback, and it's gonna be a lot harder for you because you didn't
do it.
You didn't give it for your full effort of the day. You half-assed it. And now now you're going to be screwed.
Right.
And then they're going to go in there and they're going to question your ability. And I mean, if that's what you want in life, then you need to find a different career. Or you need to find something else.
Fuck yourself.
Or just go and fuck yourself.
Right.
Or just go and fuck yourself. And get your ass moving.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
That should be our new slogan. Hey, welcome to Cravin Iron Podcast, where you need to unfuck yourself. I'm your host. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that will give us more viewers, but I mean,
it might. You know what I mean? It might. There's a lot of hard people out there. You know what I mean? We attract a certain type of crowd. So
yeah. So going back to T.O.A, explain to me like you had a certain mindset going in there.
Right.
I'm not talking about like I'm talking about like okay, I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna pass and I'm gonna do this. No, like your mindset. I know when we're on the unit, right? You have that mindset of okay, situational awareness. Okay, where's my escape route? Where's this and that? Right? We're always thinking of running scenarios in our heads. But how did that improve from when you started T.O.A and where you ended? Like, where did your mindset change? Because I know when I went through the academy, like yeah, I had an idea of like, hey, this is where I need to be. Okay, but when I graduated, that was like a boom. By that time, spending the whole week doing this and training myself and put myself to the limits and pushing myself past those limits, right? Finding those new limitations, all that. When I graduated, I hit that yard, and it was a huge eye-opener. I was 10 times better as an officer. I was 30 times better as a fucking operator, and like my mind was racing. My mind was always going, always in operator mode. And how was that for you?
Honestly, my whole mindset, and this is like me being real, is that I wanted to be the best. I wanted to stand out of the 40, 50 guys that we had. I wanted to be the best. I didn't care how big you were, how small you were, how strong you were, how fast you were. I was going to be better than you. And that's not to say because, our unit carries a certain expectation like we talked about earlier. You know what I mean? It was, for me, it was like, in anything that I do, I want to be the best. Some people say it's cocky, some people say it's arrogant. It's just that I want to be better. And my mindset going in was like, I'm going to be a platoon leader. I'm going to be a squad leader. That was my mindset, and I wanted to achieve that. And every time I achieved that goal, when it made me squad leader, I'm like, boom, accomplished. Now I have an opportunity to be a better leader. What can I do now here at T.O.A to effectively teach the guys who are on my unit, me as a supervisor, how can I teach these officers that I have, on graveyard to be better officers? You know what I mean? So once I became a squad leader, now I was able to delegate tasks. Something that, is fairly new to me, because prior to T.O.A, I was only a supervisor for maybe 2.5 weeks, that I got sent to T.O.A. Then I was off for like 12 days, you know what I mean? And then I hit the yard like, okay, it's a reset for me. Because prior to that, when I was going through training as a supervisor, it was like, it was on sway shifts, it's busy, go. So I got some training, but it wasn't like, I don't want to say effective. It wasn't like, it was just, here you go, figure it out. You know what I mean? And sometimes
you needed that
structure, foundation.
This is how you sergeant, but this is how you lead.
This is how you lead, yeah.
You needed that. This is how you lead, and you learned that. And
right. And T.O.A, and once I had that opportunity, I had my mindset like, okay, I'm a leader now. I'm gonna take this opportunity to, unfuck myself and lead these people. And if I fucked up, I would own it and I would move forward with it. And I'll have these guys move forward with me. So once I became a squad leader, I crushed it. I kept getting compliments. Hey, keep doing what you're doing a great job, whatever. And then, I don't know, it was like 2-3 days, 3 or 4 days, before it ended. They were like, hey, you're the new platoon leader. You know what I mean? Like, congratulations, field promotion, whatever the case may be. And I accomplished that. And then I took that opportunity in my mind to be like, okay, these are the officers on the yard. They're all operators. We're all tactically aware. We're all tactically have a tactical mindset. But I took that opportunity for myself to be like, how can I be a more effective leader by doing this? You know what I mean? I took what I gained from T.O.A. and when I got back on the yard after that, we had drills to run. So, we ran practical drills. We taught these guys handcuffing, tactical handcuffing, different scenarios, talk about the officers on my shift. And, they enjoyed it. They loved the fact that me and Sergeant Bengalari are more practical, oriented, and I also got, it's actually funny because, we did a medical simulation and, the effective use of gurney and things like that, going over the equipment. And I got an email from the warden saying, good job, guys, and then he questioned like, hey, do you actually use the gurney? And so I explained to him, that, I believe that practical safe training is effective. I bigged it up, but I was being real because at the end of the day, you can have all the equipment and tools in the world or what these officers think they have. And they do it this way, but then there's a better way. And that's what I learned. So I had the mindset to grow when I was at T.O.A. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be better. And I accomplished that, by accomplishing my goals, my expectations to be platoon leader.
Yeah, and I think you went at the right time because you just got promoted to sergeant and you went down to T.O.A. You said you only had pretty much a couple days to train, to be a leader and a sergeant, right? Mm-hmm. But then you went down to T.O.A. and it's like you got put in that leadership role the whole time, right?
Right.
And then you hit the unit and it's like, okay, cool, it's go time. I just did this in the most intense training that we can possibly do.
Anybody can possibly do, right.
At least for our field.
Right, yeah.
But I just went through this as the leader, and now you can effectively do your job. You know what I mean? Yeah, you still need to learn things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, it's all life's about games.
Right.
But I mean, just you went down at the right time, I think, just because I can't even imagine if I did that and if I got put in your position, okay, got sergeant, you need to learn how to be a leader because you haven't done that yet, right?
Right.
You learn how to be a leader, and then guess what? You just happen to go to training and to be a leader, an effective leader, and an effective operator.
Right.
And now you can take that and drive it into, your leadership ability as a sergeant in the unit. So, I think that was a really good experience and good timing.
Yeah,
really
it was good. I mean, it was somewhat intimidating, being put on the spot. Like I said, I recently got promoted, and then before I knew it, boom, it was T.O.A. And like I said, it was only a week and a half, 2 weeks, right into T.O.A. and then right in leadership role. You know what I mean? So, like I said, my mindset was to be the best, and not to say that I'm better than anybody that was there. We're all equal. We all have the same mindset. But me personally, that was my expectation for myself that I set.
Yeah.
So, and I accomplished it.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of every one of you. I've overseen walls go through, and I know what he prepared or how he prepared.
Right.
I know all of you prepared in your own way, mentally and physically. And like you said, you hit the gym harder, and you got your self motivation, and you instilled that discipline and all that stuff. Right.
Right.
I'm proud of every one of you. That good picks to go down there. You guys represented, and you guys need to hold yourself high. Hold your heads high. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you guys represented right. And then, we went and did that little thing afterwards to celebrate. And that was really cool. And what you guys said to those new guys, it's true.
Right.
All right, you guys. So I appreciate all the views. I appreciate every one of you. I know that we took a break for a minute. And but anyways, we're back. We're going to be going full force with this. We're going to hit it hard and make sure you guys get content. Like I said, things happen. Life happens. And
you got to bounce back.
And that's what we're going to be doing. So, sorry, Ty the Wood Underwood couldn't be here with us today. But
stupid.
but it's okay because
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. We made the best of it. It's good.
Yeah.
So, and if you got anything from this, the biggest message I can give you, just from my experience the past couple weeks, life is way too short to be hesitant on anything that you're doing. You know what I mean? Life is too short to half-ass anything. Like, if your mind is set on something, just go for it. Don't stop until it gets there. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you're not where you want to be, then rethink it. Rethink what you need to do. Strategize.
Unfuck yourself.
And unfuck yourself. And live. Live while you can. You know what I mean? Because it can. I mean, life can stop.
Life is short.
Life is short.
Yeah.
And trust God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thing, you know?
What I could take from this, and if you guys could take something from this, is that, like Fiora was saying, life is short. Set expectations for yourself. Set goals. Be the person that people want to be. Be the person that people admire. Put yourself in a position of leadership. Be a leader every day. Those of you who are listening and you're in this, field of law enforcement, military, doctors, nurses, whatever you do, if you own companies and you're listening to this podcast, have it set in your mind certain expectations and goals for you to meet. Be the best company. You know what I mean? It's not you being cocky or arrogant or having a chip on your shoulders. You being confident in your ability to perform. And at the end of the day, when you set those expectations and those goals, you can achieve anything. Nothing is impossible for you, humanly possible, that is. You want to be the best. You want to be relentless. You want to be ruthless. And any obstacle or challenges that may come in, face to face with you, you destroy it. You break through those obstacles. You break through those challenges. You get what you need to get done, and you be that better you than you were the other day.
That's right. That's good.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you got anything out of this podcast, if it comes up in conversation or anything that we talked about conversation, share it with people.
Yeah.
Because the way we improve is you share it with people. If you're listening to this or you're watching it on YouTube, share it. Sure. Share it. Hit the like button and hit that notification bell to hear the.
Ding.
There it is, the ding. So when we do post new content, it actually pops up and you guys can view it. Again, thank you for all the support. Really
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And yeah, guys, life's too short. Live it up.
Live it up. Unfuck yourself.
Unfuck yourself. Good job, Kristoff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, watch. I'm going to show you something. Look.
Okay.
See how easy this is?
Right.
Goodbye.